going, everyone? It's Coach Frankie Martinez. Today we're going to talk about the importance of using your legs first before your upper body in the discus. So when we talk about the discus, upper body and lower body, the first thing a lot of beginners will do is try and arm the throw. So arming means you use the upper body first with no leg drive. So the legs and the discus actually help set up the attack angle in the discus. So if you're just arming the throw, one of the common mistakes that you see is a line drive or an early shift with your weight. So all your power is onto the left side, and then you shift over and throw really flat. It may have a lot of power, but it's just gonna go about an inch off the ground and then it'll just die, okay? So the importance again of using your legs first is to set up the attack angle and to overall give you your power. So when you're using your legs first from the ground up, of course, everything is able to have stability, right? So I'm able to have a nice stable base, and I'm able to establish the stretch reflex going down from my legs through my core, pec, delt, and then eventually the discus, right? So my legs, my right leg, since I'm a right-handed thrower, is going to be the one to attack the throwing area first while my upper body stays back, okay? Upper body staying back. As I'm turning my right foot, I should feel a hell of a lot of tension going through my core, eventually through my pec, delt, and then all the way up into the discus, okay? So notice that when I'm attacking with my legs first, that I'm able to almost get into almost like a bow and arrow angle here with my leg, and that's because I'm trying to stay back with my upper body and my legs are driving through, okay? So now if I open up my upper body into the throwing area, I'm no longer having that nice attack angle. My hip angle, which is roughly here, is going straight and it's flat, okay? Now if I'm keeping my upper body closed, now I'm able to get more of an attack angle onto my discus, okay? So a couple of ways to think about keeping the non-dominant side, this is my left arm, and my dominant side, this is my right discus hand. So keeping my non-dominant side closed is having something like a rag in your left to remind you that you're supposed to stay closed while delivering or starting to work your legs through, okay? Another thing that you could do is maybe have a watch or a band or something that may remind you about the same thing. You can use a discus bag, something like that, just something visual that may remind you that you need to keep your upper body back and keep working your legs through, okay? So talk about your legs being a lot stronger than your upper body. You're walking on your legs all day, so that means that your legs are naturally stronger than your upper body. That means we have to initiate all movements in the throws except the hammer with the lower body, okay? So we talk about legs first. This is the true power. If we step away from just talking about shot put and discus for a bit, I want you guys to think about other sports, think about boxing, maybe even baseball or softball, where they're batting, or if you're throwing or delivering a punch. For boxing, it's from the hips first and then the punch comes after. So your punch would come after, right? So the same thing is happening in the discus, as we're talking about discus. So the hip needs to be the one to initiate the movement, not your upper body. For those of you, again, who are in the boxing world or who understand the punching mechanics, if you just throw a punch with your arms, it may look pretty, but if you really know how to deliver power, it's definitely through your hip, and then the upper body will follow. And the same thing will happen to discus, where your hip and your leg are the drivers, and then the arm or the discus will deliver, okay? So this is a big emphasis, okay? Is allowing the legs, which is our stronger muscle group, to go first. Then that'll set up our attack angle, that'll set up our stretch reflex, and ultimately create that lag that you want the discus to be able to have it be a sling rather than just a muscle throw, which is very random and inconsistent. So going back to it, so one way that you guys can think about the throw if you're struggling with the stand throw, You can think about it as a 3 count. I've created a lot of my throwing stuff to look kind of like a choreography for dance. So think about this like a 3 count, okay? So it's from the back side, it looks like this. So I start closed off. So 1 will be my foot moving, 1, 2 will be the hip, and then 3 will be the actual throw. Okay, so it's gonna be a 3 count. If you really wanted to break this down, I'm gonna do it towards you guys. You can make it a 4 count, okay? So I'm gonna show you first a 3 count again towards you guys. Okay, so this is my throwing side, this is my discus side. I'm closed up, this is 1 right here. 1, move my foot, 2, move my hip, and then 3 is my upper body, okay? Now, if you wanna break it down even more because you don't feel very confident in this movement and you want to learn the left side, right side of the upper body, the 4 count would be more what you want to do. So legs are still the same. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you guys notice that my left arm pulled and my discus arm stayed back, and then you went through, okay? You're trying to establish this retroreflex through the hip, through the pectoral area, and this will eventually help you kind of sling that discus around, okay? So one more time for the 4 count. So the count would be, foot is my first one, so 1, 2 is the hip, 3 left arm, the discus is back here, okay? The discus is back here, and then 4, and then that would be my 4 count, okay? Eventually the goal is to be less mechanical, so these counts will kind of go away. Again, a lot like a dance routine, you don't see a 1, 2, whenever movement, you know how it's very, very sharp movements. It's not like that, it's very fluid. So it'd be more of a 1, 2, eventually kind of just being all one movement. So once you kind of transfer those together or fuse them together, it would just be 1 and then 2, right? So that would be kind of like a 2 count once you were confident or comfortable with those 4 counts or 3 counts, and then eventually it would just be all one motion. Again, focusing on the legs driving through, hips the driver, okay? The hips the driver, so you have to make sure the hips are driving first, okay? Or the legs. So it's just gonna be all one motion, and you're not having to break it down into a 1, 2, 3, or 4 count, okay? So this is Coach Frankie Martinez. Make sure you guys are checking out my YouTube at Frankie Martinez Throws and my Instagram at Coach Frankie Martinez. Make sure you guys are commenting in the comment section what you guys want to see next. This question was actually brought to you by a viewer just like you guys, so make sure you guys are commenting what you guys want to see in the future. Thank you guys. See you guys later.